Hello everyone, I'm Neha Sharma, Assistant Professor at Institute of Information Technology and Management. Today I'm here with the topic incentive plans. Now this is the topic under the subject compensation management, which is one of the HR specialization subject in MBA. So let's study what are incentive plans and what are the different types of incentive plans provided by the organization to the employees. So let's first study the basics. What exactly do we mean by incentives? Wage incentives, also known as payment by results, is anything that attracts the worker and motivates him to work in the organization. It determines their standard of living and their attitude towards the company. Because if the company is ready to pay you financial incentives based on your performance in the organization, definitely you have a different attitude towards the company, and it will motivate you to perform better and better in the organization. So incentive schemes provided by the organization are based on either individual output or group output, because today we have the concept of teamwork in the organization. So yes, there are team and group incentives also, and incentives based on individual performances also in the organization. The uses of incentive assumes that people's action are related to their skills and ability to achieve important goals in the organization. Now, according to the National Commission on Labor, wage incentives are extra financial motivation. They are designed to stimulate human effort by rewarding the person over and above the time rated remuneration for improvements in the present or targeted results. Psychologists have also defined incentives as a motivating force introduced as a means of accomplishing a goal or an outward stimulus which activates the need or brings a motivation for the individual to work and come out with their maximum potential in the organization. These are some of the benefits of incentive plans that the company introduces in the organization for their employees, either on individual basis performance or maybe on teamwork. The first point is it attracts and retains talented employees in the organization. It improves employer-employee relations in the organization. It also reduces employee absenteeism and turnover over a period of time, because employees are happy and they are being rewarded for their performance in the organization, and that too in the terms of financial reward. And financial rewards or financial incentives are one of the biggest motivation for the employees in any organization. They also prefer to join the organization where they can earn more and better based on their skills and performance. It is payment by results, so definitely the results will get improved in the organization, the productivity will be enhanced in the organization. It creates efficient and motivated workforce. It tends to reinforce appropriate behavior positivity. It is like whenever you do some actions or you do some deeds or maybe performance and you are rewarded positively based on your performance, it is the human tendency to repeat that positive behavior again and again, because that is related, that is associated with some positive reward, and that too very attractive. So it will reinforce positive behavior in the organization for the employees. It helps in effective utilization of manpower. It increases productivity in the organization. It builds up morale of the employees in the organization. Also, mutual cooperation and teamwork is created. It is like today we have the concept of teamwork in the organization, and incentives are team based also. Like if the entire team is performing so well and we are getting the coordinated efforts into better productivity, then the entire team will be rewarded. So it is not based on individual performance in a team, it is a teamwork. So team building and teamwork is also being promoted, and in the organization if we have team-based incentives. Now, there are different types of incentive plans which are divided into two major categories. One is individual incentive plan and the second is group incentive plan. Now, under individual incentive plan, it is again divided into two major categories. One is it is based on time and the second one is individual incentive plan based on the productivity or the output or maybe the production of the employees in the organization. And again, these are divided into further categories, which we'll be studying in detail. And under group incentive plan, again, there are three different categories, and we'll be studying all these uh, different types of incentive plans in detail. So first of all, let's discuss the individual incentive plans. Now, under individual incentive plan, individual employee is paid incentive based on the basis of individual performance or output in the organization. The employers, they are liable to pay incentives to those employees who are producing more than the standard output. Standard is the required output as per your job, but if you are ready to give your extra time and potential to the organization is also equally ready to provide you with more financial benefits in the form of incentives if you are giving them better productivity as compared to the average standard output. So individual incentive plans can be either time-based or production-based. Now, in case of time-based incentive plans, a standard time is determined for doing a job, and this standard time served as the basis for giving incentive to the employees. A worker is considered as efficient if he completes his job in less than standard time being allocated to him or her, and the worker is awarded for his efficiency by giving incentive under some incentive plans. Under time-based incentive plans, there are four different categories, four different types of plans. One is Halsey plan, Rowan plan, Emerson plan, and Budek's plan. So let's study these plans in detail. What are exactly the differences between these plans? First plan is Halsey plan. Now, in this method, a standard time is fixed for the completion of the job. A minimum wage is being guaranteed by the organization to the worker for if he completes his job in just a standard time. But yes, if he only completes his job in just a standard time, he'll not be given any incentive for that. But yes, the minimum wage is guaranteed. And if a worker performs his job in less than the standard time, he is given an incentive. And the incentive will be equal to the 50% of the time saved by the worker. So the formula, it says that W, which stands for total wages, is equal to T into R. T is time taken for completing the job. R is the rate at which you are being paid, plus S minus T, where S is the standard time and T is the time taken to complete the job, into R. R is the rate at which, the percentage at which the time is saved to be given as an incentive. So this is the formula for the Halsey plan. Let's understand it with the help of an example. You have, say for example, if the rate of R is rupees 3 standard time for completion of job in 10 hours. Now the worker completes his job in 8 hours, which is less than the standard time, that is 10 hours. So we'll put the digits into the formula, that is 8 into 3 plus 10 minus 8, the standard time, in minus exactly the time taken by the worker to complete the job, into 3 into half, that is 50% of the what we talk about in the 50% of the time saved by the worker. So it comes to rupees 27. So in the above example, worker is given an incentive of 50% of the time saved. So this is how the Halsey plan works. Now there are some advantages and disadvantages of this Halsey plan. As the advantages says that it is very simple and each worker is at least guaranteed a minimum wage if he completes his job in the standard time. and it is beneficial to efficient worker who is putting on more efforts and completing the job in less than the standard time. It causes no harm to new worker, trainee or slow worker because everybody is guaranteed a minimum wage, and management shares the benefit of overachievement by the workers. So that is one of the benefit. Disadvantages can be the workers get only a percentage of return on their overachievement. The quality of production may suffer because the worker is in a hurry to complete the job in less than the standard time allocated to him. So that can be one of the disadvantage. And there are maybe difficulties in setting a standard time for different job because it requires a lot of experience and expertise in setting the standard time that has to be allocated for every task and every job in the organization. So again, this is a difficulty and can be a disadvantage to this plan. Now let's come to Rowan plan. Now this plan is quite similar to Halsey plan and it differs only in terms of calculation of incentive for time saved. It also says the same thing that the worker will get the guaranteed minimum wages and incentive is only paid to the workers who completes their job in less than the standard time and they are paid on the basis of ratio. There it was paid in Halsey plan, it was paid, the employee was paid on the basis of the percentage. Here they are paid on the basis of ratio, which is time saved over the standard time per unit standard time. So here incentive is calculated as incentive, or we also call it as bonus, S minus 1 divided by S into X T into R. So total wages T into R plus incentive. So T is the time taken to complete the job, S is the standard time, and R is the rate at which you will be paying the wages. So let's understand this. The same example, rate per hour is 3 and the standard time for completion of job is 10 hours. So let's put these digits into the formula and we are getting the answer as 28.4. In Halsey plan, we were getting the incentive as rupees 27 for the same rate per hour and for the same standard hour. But here the worker again has completed job in the 8 hours, and here the incentive is a little bit more as compared to what the worker will get into Halsey plan. So this is a revised one, better as compared to the Halsey plan. Here the incentive is 28.4. These Rowan plan also has some of the advantages and disadvantages to it. So the best advantage is the system checks overspeeding and overstrain by the worker, and each worker is guaranteed a minimum wage and the efficiency is rewarded. Yes, but some disadvantages are the workers find it difficult to understand the ratio based plan, that how they are being paid, the incentives. It also discourages workers to overachieve, and workers may not like sharing of profit for overachievement. So that can be one of the disadvantage. Emerson's efficiency plan, the third plan under the time based individual incentive scheme. Now, in this plan, a minimum wage is guaranteed to every worker on time based, and incentive is given on the basis of their efficiency. Efficiency is determined by the ratio of time taken to the standard time. Payment of bonus or incentive is related to the efficiency of the workers. Incentive will be paid to those workers who attain more than two-thirds, that is 66.67% of efficiency. No incentive will be paid or given to the workers with at 66.67% efficiency. It is only if the worker attains more than two-thirds, that is more than 66.67% of efficiency, not at 66.67% efficiency. At 100% efficiency, incentive is 20% of the hourly rate. For efficiency exceeding 100%, 1% incentive or bonus is paid for every 1% increase in efficiency. So let's understand it with the help of an example. If the standard time for the job is 6 hours and hourly rate is rupees 3 per hour, if a worker completes the job in 6 hours, the efficiency of the worker is 100%. and his wages will be 6 into 3 plus bonus at the rate 20%. That is rupees 18 plus 20% of 18, that is 21.6 rupees. Now, advantages of this sort of incentive scheme is the minimum wages are guaranteed, and it's very simple to understand. And the disadvantage can be the incentive after attaining standard is not that high, it's again very low. So that can be not as a motivating factor maybe for some of the workers. Now, the last plan under the individual incentive scheme is Burek's point plan. Under Burek's system, also known as units or point system, also guarantees a minimum wage for the workers. Now, under this plan, the standard time and time taken for each job is reduced to minutes. Each minute is referred to as B, that is 1 hour is equal to 60 Bs. The worker who complete the job within standard time are paid at a normal time rate. Those who complete the job in less time are paid bonus or incentives, and the bonus or incentives are paid to the workers is 75% of the wages for time saved. The time saved is divided between workers and management. The formula for calculating wages is TR plus 75% of standard time minus the time taken by the workers into hour, where W is for total wages, S for the standard time, T for time taken to complete the job, and R for the rate at which the worker is being paid. So let's again understand this with the help of an example. If standard time for the job is 6 hours, that is 360 Bs, and wage rate is 3 per hour. If the worker completes his job in 5 hours, that is 300 Bs, he gave 60 Bs. His total wages, let's put the digits into formula and we'll get 17.25 rupees. So this is how it works. Again, we have some advantages and disadvantages to this plan. It is simple again, and it is the minimum wages are guaranteed, and management also shares some percentage of bonus with the employees. But the disadvantage is that the incentives is again very low. It's not that high. I mean, the moment you are putting a lot of efficiency and efforts, your potential to the job, as compared to that, the incentives are not that high, so it might not be motivating for some of the workers, and they may not like their bonus to be shared by the management. That can be also one of the reason of disadvantage of dissatisfaction among the workers. Now these were the time based incentive plans that we discussed, the 4 different types. Now let's come to the production output or maybe the productivity based incentive plan. So the first plan based on productivity is Taylor's differential piece rate system. Now, this system was introduced by Taylor, the father of scientific management. He's nominated as F.W. Taylor. The main characteristic of this system are that there are 2 rates of wage, one lower rate and the one higher as fixed. A lower rate for those workers who are not able to attain the standard output within the standard time, and a higher rate for those who are in a position to produce the standard output within or less than the standard time. Let's understand this with the help of an example, as it is very, very easy. It's a basic, the Taylor's piece rate system. It is like if standard production is in 8 hours is fixed at unit 10 units are supposed to be produced in 8 hours. The lower piece rate is 3 and the higher is 3.5. So if a worker produces 9 units, he'll get the wages at the rate of 3, that is 9 into 3 rupees 27. And in case a worker produces 10 units, that is a standard unit which is required, he'll be getting wages at the rate of 3.5, that is 35 rupees. So this is how it works. There are certain advantages and disadvantages to this plan. The first is advantage is it provides incentives to the efficient workers, and inefficient workers are penalized by getting the wages at a low rate. This system is very simple and easy to implement in the organization. The disadvantage is that yes, the minimum wage is not assured. It is based on how much pieces, how much productivity you come out with at the end of the day. There are chances that quality of work may suffer because people will be in a hurry, in a rush to produce more pieces, to come out with more productivity at the end of the day, to come out with better wages and results. This system is not liked by below average workers as they do not get any incentive. The people, those who are lazy at work, those who are not that efficient, and those who have a tendency not to work or come out with their potential to the maximum, they don't like this system. So these are some of the disadvantages and advantages of Taylor's piece rate system. Another group incentive, not another individual incentive based plan under the productivity category is Merrick's multiple piece rate plan. Now, to overcome the limitations of Taylor's differential piece rate system, Merrick suggested a modified plan in which three piece rates are applied for workers with different levels of performance. Now, what Merrick says is if workers are producing less than 83% of the standard output, they are paid at the basic rate. If the workers are producing their output between 83% to 100% of the standard output, they'll be paid 110% of basic piece rate. And those producing more than 100% of the standard output will be paid 120% of the basic piece rate. So it was very simple to understand, and it yes overcome the limitation of the Taylor, and it came out with the three different piece rates. So the advantage of this plan is that efficient workers are rewarded handsomely. Yes, there are three different categories, and minimum wages are guaranteed to the workers. Disadvantage to this is that there is a wide gap in slabs of differential piece rate, and overemphasis on high production rates. So again, here the quality might get suffered. Now, the next plan based on the productivity under the individual incentive scheme is Gantt's task and bonus plan. Now, this plan is based on careful study of a job. The main feature of this plan is that it combines time rate, piece rate, and bonus. The standard time is fixed for doing a particular job. Worker's actual performance is compared with the standard time and his efficiency is determined. Now, if a worker does not complete the job within the standard time, that is, he takes more than the standard time, efficiency is below 100%, he'll not receive any bonus, but he will be given wages for the time taken by him. If the worker completes his job within the standard time with 100% efficiency, he is given wages for the standard time and a bonus of 20% of wages earned. And if the worker completes the job in less than the standard time, that is the efficiency more than 100%, wages are paid according to piece rate. Again, we have advantages and disadvantages to this plan. Minimum wage rate is guaranteed, it's simple to understand, and efficient workers can earn more money. And yes, the disadvantage is emphasis on overspeed or high production rate. It might affect the quality of work in the organization. So these were some of the individual incentive plans based on time as well as productivity that we discussed. Now let's come to the group incentive plans that the organization provides. So group incentive plan scheme is designed to promote effective teamwork in the organization, as the bonus or the incentive is dependent on the performance and output of not an individual person but of the entire team as a whole. So under group incentive plan, each employee is paid incentives on the basis of collective performance of his group to which he belongs. Within the group, each employee gets an equal share of the incentives. Now, these are some of the three different categories of group incentive plans. So let's discuss it out one by one. Priestman's plan. Now, in this plan, workers are not considered individually, but yes, collectively, as it is a team incentive plan. This system considers the productivity of all the workers as a whole. Bonus is paid in proportion in excess of standard output per week. If in a year the output increases either above the standard output or the output of the previous year, the wages are increased in the same ratio. For example, if in 2009 the output per worker per unit time is 10 units, and in the year 2010 the output per worker per unit time comes to be 12 units. Now the wage in 2010 will be 20% more than in 2009. The drawback of this system is that individual efficiency is not considered, and it is fine because it is a team-based plan. So here, yes, the collective performance of the entire team is taken into consideration and not the individual performance. Next is profit sharing. Now, the concept of profit sharing emerged towards the end of the 19th century. Profit sharing, as the name itself suggests, is sharing of profit of organization among employees. The International Cooperative Congress, held in Paris in 1889, considered the issue of profit sharing and defined it as an agreement, can be formal or informal, freely entered into by which an employee receives a share fixed in advance of the profits. The basic rationale behind profit sharing is that the organizational profit is an outcome of the cooperative efforts of various parties. Therefore, employees should also share in profits as shareholders share by getting dividend on their investment, that is share capital. So the very purpose of introducing profit sharing is to strengthen the loyalty of the employees to the organization. Thus, profit sharing, I would say, is regarded as a stepping stone to industrial democracy. Now, both the share, the percentage of profit to be shared by employees, and mechanism for its distribution are determined in advance and are also made known to the employees. In order to be eligible to participate in profit sharing, an employee needs to serve for the certain number of years and thus earn some seniority. Now, based on that, that is the criteria. If the employee is present in the organization for certain number of years that is being fixed up for profit sharing, then only he can claim that profit sharing, he can claim profits, he can claim that share under the profit sharing scheme within the organization. The next is Scanlon Plan. Now, this plan is essentially a suggestion scheme designed to involve the workers in making suggestions for reducing the cost of operation and involving improving work methods in the organization and sharing the gains in the increased profit in the increased productivity. So here the employees and managers, they participate in the plan by submitting their suggestions for cost cutting methods, and if they are getting good results, their efficiency improves, then yes, the profit, the productivity is being shared by the employees, those who are a part of it, those who participated into this. So increase in efficiency on account of cost cutting is shared by the employees of the unit. The Scalon plan, wherever adopted, has been successful to encourage a sense of participation and a partnership among the employees, improved employee-employer relationships in the organization, and increased motivation to work because employees' suggestions and decisions are being considered as an important part in the workplace. So finally, we have discussed the individual incentive-based plans as well as group incentive-based plans. And let's conclude this lecture. The criticism labeled against group incentive is that the incentive benefits being similar to all the members of the group, the best performers may lose incentives. So, however, this can be overcome if group incentive scheme generates peer level pressure from superior performance and also reduces the need for supervision. Stability in group may be a necessary condition to make the group incentive scheme successful. So, as regard the ultimate impact of incentives on organizational performance, the research studies conducted in India report that incentive schemes have a positive impact on productivity, labor cost, and industrial relations. It is concluded that money has a salutary impact on production, and this is very much true. This is the ultimate motivation for almost all the employees, those who are working there, those who are contributing their energy, their skills and potential to the organization. So thank you so much for this new topic that I come up with. And in the future also, I'll come up with more such topics in the subject of compensation management. Thank you so much.